Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain 21. This movie is based on the true story of 6 Massachusetts Institute of Technology students who were trained to become experts in card counting and subsequently took Vegas casinos for millions in winnings. Will their actions in manipulating the casino run smoothly? Let's find out in 21. 21 tells the story of Ben Campbell, a math student at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He is accepted into Harvard Medical School but cannot afford the $300,000 in tuition. Ben then applied for the Robinson Scholarship, which was judged to cover all his school fees. Even though he passed the medical college entrance examination with perfect scores and his GPA was always above average, in fact he had to face stiff competition for the scholarship. He was told by the director that the scholarship would only be awarded to any student who impressed him. Unable to impress the director with his genius, Ben decides to go home and go to a bar with his 2 best friends, Miles and Cam. Just like Ben, Miles and Cam are also genius students. The next day, Ben returned to attend lectures at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology as usual. In class, he gets a professor named Rosa who is interested in his genius, especially after the professor saw the 97% score that Ben had achieved on his latest nonlinear equation test. When Ben was studying alone on campus, a young man approached him and asked him to follow him. Ben turns out to be directed to a room where Professor Rosa and some genius students are. Professor Rosa asked Ben to call him Mickey, and then introduced the other students in the room. The young man who came to Ben was Fisher, then there was another boy named Choi, and 2 girls named Jill and Kianna. Impressed by Ben's cleverness, Mickey invites him to join the Massachusetts Institute of Technology blackjack team, where they will use mathematical calculations to increase the odds of winning at the casino, thus making a lot of money. Even though he currently needs a lot of money to pay for medical school at Harvard, Ben politely refuses Mickey's offer, because Ben already knows about Mickey and several other students' actions to make big profits by playing blackjack at the casino. Mickey asks him to keep it a secret. Ben, who works as an assistant manager at a clothing store to pay for his studies, is then visited by Jill who wants to buy a tie. However, her arrival at the clothing store actually wanted to persuade Ben to join the blackjack team, but Ben again refused. Until one day, Mickey, who was training his students patiently to guess the order of cards in a blackjack game, was impressed by Ben's sudden appearance at their base because he could guess the order of the cards correctly. Ben was not only able to calculate quickly and precisely, but he also had a pretty good memory. Without explaining the risks of what they did to Ben, Mickey immediately coached Ben to remember the basics in the blackjack game and told him how to play it in the casino. He asked Ben to focus on making a lot of money and not to think about anything else. As he's sure Ben is quite capable of practicing playing blackjack, Mickey then asks him to prove the results of his training by visiting the underground gambling arena and making money from the blackjack game. Mickey gives Ben a little money to start the game. Although still a beginner, Ben could win and make quite a lot of money, just by doing mathematical calculations and guessing the order of cards that he had remembered very well. Mickey and his teammates are quite impressed with Ben's first success. They then decided to go straight to Las Vegas on the weekend. Arriving in Las Vegas, Mickey has prepared everything so that all team members can run the action smoothly. They stay in one of the luxury hotels and are provided with quite a lot of money for gambling. Mickey then gives them new identities as disguises. Ben was still nervous because it was the first time he had come to a high-end casino, especially now that he wanted to do his thing to make big profits from the casino. He then went to Kianna, who gave a code with a body gesture indicating that the blackjack game table she was currently sitting on had good cards so that Ben's chances of winning were great. As expected, Ben guessed the card correctly and won the game easily. Over time, Ben can achieve successive wins and reap huge profits, which then triggers the suspicion of a man named Cole Williams, the casino's head of security. He has been monitoring Mickey's team movements and is now starting to focus on Ben. Mickey hasn't explained to Ben that the casino has a very sophisticated security system to prevent people from cheating, which can jeopardize their actions. Returning from Las Vegas, Ben's face lit up when he visited his mother. While eating together, his mother handed him a check with a large amount of money to help him pay for his studies. However, Ben politely refused his mother's gift and lied that he had managed to get a scholarship. Not only from his mother, Ben also keeps his playing cards at the casino a secret from his friends, Miles and Cam. When Ben is at the bar with the 2 of them, he sees Jill, who is surrounded by many men who intend to seduce her. Ben ventured to approach Jill and treat her to a drink. Even the 2 of them had a long chat until finally Ben accompanied Jill home by taking the subway. The following weekend, Ben and the blackjack team went back to the casinos in Las Vegas and managed to make more money than the previous week. Ben can even shop for expensive items and have fun with the money he gets from playing blackjack. As he earns more and more money, Ben and Jill's relationship grows closer. However, as he now spends more time with his teammates on the blackjack team, his friendships with Miles and Cam are strained. On the other hand, Ben's genius and his card-playing skills that always impress people are even considered hot rivals by a jealous Fisher. One night, while on the run, a drunk Fisher starts messing up at the casino. Ben and Fisher then got into a fight, so the security guards had to step in to bring the commotion down. Ben managed to secure the chips he got during the game, before finally running away with his friends. After the incident, Micky kicked Fisher out of the blackjack team. Because their identities were already known by security officers, Ben suggested asking the dancers for help to exchange their chips. Micky welcomes his suggestion, and they manage to exchange chips and return to Las Vegas. Ben's dedication to the blackjack team causes him to abandon his role in the science competition and alienates him from his friends. Miles and Cam decide to continue the science competition alone, and Ben agrees because according to him, winning the science competition still doesn't make them more valued by others. Ben then left his two friends. During his next trip to Las Vegas, Ben is emotionally disturbed because he still thinks about his fight with Miles and Cam. Because his mind was in a mess, he became unfocused and continued to suffer losses that cost him a lot of money to reach $200,000. Arriving back to the hotel, Micky was furious because they could not provide any benefits for him and he actually lost. Micky then demands that Ben pay $200,000 to compensate for the losses he suffered, but Ben refused. After Micky leaves, Ben persuades his three friends to continue playing blackjack without Micky's supervision. They can get more profits because half of their profits have to be deposited with Micky, who has never been directly involved in carrying out their actions. Ben and his three friends started playing blackjack without Micky and managed to make more money. However, unbeknownst to them, Micky did not let them enjoy these benefits for granted. He secretly reported Ben's actions to Williams, who immediately grabbed Ben while he was in action and beat him hard, while his three friends managed to escape. Williams asks Ben about a casino robbery syndicate with a city rigging modeled by Micky, but Ben keeps his mouth shut. Arriving in Boston, Ben, who had just arrived at his dorm room, was very surprised to see his room was in a mess, and all the money he had hidden above the ceiling had been stolen by someone. Not only that, he also received a notification that he did not meet the requirements to pass the courses taught by Micky and he had to retake the following semester. Ben was then frustrated because the situation turned around so quickly, from gaining money easily, and now all his money had disappeared. However, Ben did not want to dissolve in frustration. He then decided to rise from adversity and reach his happiness again. In the first place, he attends Micky's lectures only to have a frontal opinion about a teacher who uses the genius of a student to his advantage. After that, he goes to a science competition where Miles and Cam win the competition. He then apologized to his two friends and told them what he was going through. After mending his relationship with Miles and Cam, he then confers with his three blackjack teammates for their next action in Las Vegas. After making plans with Jill, Kianna, and Choi, Ben went to Micky, who was attending the alumni party. With a regretful look on his face, Ben apologizes to Micky for all the chaos in Las Vegas. He persuades him to get back into the team and run the action in Las Vegas before the casino installs biometric software in the security system, which will make it difficult for them to act in Las Vegas in the future. Seeing the sincerity in Ben, Micky finally accepts his offer and promises him that they will reap greater profits and Ben's life will return to normal. Arriving in Las Vegas, Ben and the blackjack team go undercover before hitting the casino. Ben is seen wearing a wig and fake mustache, as well as glasses. After Jill gave a signal with her body gesture, he went to the table and won in a row. Micky then teamed up with Ben and together, they made over $600,000 a night at the casino. However, their victory did not last long because Williams and some of his men then appeared and tried to arrest the syndicate of Ben and Micky. Seeing the arrival of Williams, Ben and Micky immediately put all the chips they won into their pockets and ran away from there. Ben and Jill fled the other way, while Micky immediately entered the car they had prepared and fled with the bag of chips. The scene then switches to showing a flashback of Ben being beaten by Williams. As it turns out, Ben struck a deal with Williams, in which he would help Williams catch Micky if he freed him. Ben deliberately persuades Micky to return to Las Vegas and rerun their stunts so that William can catch him. While in the car, Micky realized that it was all a trap after checking the bag he was carrying, which contained fake chips. Williams' men immediately arrested Micky and will be judged directly by Williams. Since Micky has been caught, Williams decides to let Ben continue playing at the casino and keep his winnings. But after that, Williams took a bag of chips from Ben's winnings and told him he needed a pension, whereas smart people like Ben would always find a way to succeed and make a lot of money. Ben and William's feud was over after Williams decided to retire as head of casino security. Ben and the blackjack team decide to continue their action every weekend. However, now they can set the profits they want to get and act as smoothly as possible so as not to be suspected by the casino security. Not only that, Miles and Cam, who turned out to be quite good at counting and guessing cards while working with Choi and Kianna during Micky's arrest. They were finally officially recruited into the blackjack team, and thus, the team of 6 people would be able to earn lots of money. The film ends by showing Ben telling about the fraud he did to rob the casino to the director of the Robinson Scholarship, who was very surprised to hear it.